name is Abdulqadir Ibrahim, and my team's project was to create a front-end application using Flutter development platform. Our team started working on a pollution heat map that will allow users to track garbage and other forms of pollution by simply placing a tracker, a mark at the area of the pollution. And a page to sign in or sign up. And in order to successfully do our project, we needed a location tracker to get users' location, a Google Maps, and Firebase to let our location sign in or sign up to let our users sign in or sign up. In my version of the app, there is a loading screen. This loading screen, I check if the user is signed in. If they are signed in, I ask them for a permission to get their location and pass the latitude and longitude to the home screen. And if the user is not signed in, I simply wait for 5 milliseconds and take them to the login page where they will be able to sign in and go to the maps. Um, in order to do this, I had to use a asynchronous method to check to wait for Firebase to check if there is a current user, and if there is one, get their location, take them to the home screen, and if they are not signed in, simply wait for 5 milliseconds and take them to the sign in page. In order to track users' location, I had to use Flutter package called Locator. I created a simple class here to make things easy. Um, this get location function, I asked for the user information and then get their latitude and longitude, which I will then need to pass it to the home screen. There is also our app includes a page to sign in or sign up. Um, so at the login page, users are able to log in with email or password, and after they do that, um, the screen will take them here, and they have options here. They can go to their profile and see their email and password. Um, I used Cloud Fire Store to store users' name and email, and then fetch that data at the profile here. Display their name and email address. Um, I store the name and email address and email at the registration screen when they create a new account. Um, when they create a new account, after they create the account, I simply store their name and email address at the cloud store or the Firebase database. And here are the sign in page and registration screen. Here is the sign in page. They simply put their email and password, or they just simply sign up with their name, email address, and password. What I learned from this internship, I gained a lot of experience from this internship. Before I started it, I simply didn't have a lot of knowledge about APIs, and by using Google Maps API on our app, on our app, I learned a lot about APIs, and I believe I could use them in my future projects.
In the time of our internship, our team succeeded in developing a Flutter pollution map. The goal was to develop the front end of an environmental-oriented app that enables users to target areas of pollution and mark them. The basic architecture of our app begins with a check to see if the user is logged in or not. If the user is already logged in, they bypass the login page and go to the profile page. If not, the user is brought to the login or register page, which utilizes Firebase authentication. Once they've signed in or registered, they're directed to the profile page, which they can toggle between the profile and the map, which utilizes Leaflet API. Now, let's go delve into some code specifics. The user is introduced to the sign-in page, and they can toggle between the sign-in page and register page by pressing the top upright buttons. The register function is asynchronous because it needs to communicate with the Firebase database. Through an instance of Firebase, we can tell the Firebase to create user with email and password with the given parameters, email and password. Once that is done, it becomes assigned to this variable, and then it becomes a Firebase user. Once that is done, they become a Firebase user. However, to streamline the data, we get the return of this method, which strips Firebase user down to its UID. The map aspect is created through Leaflet, a map API, geolocator, and a map controller, working together in conjunction. The Leaflet API allows for the creation of the map. The geolocator targets the current location and translates it into a longitude and latitude that can be utilized to get the current location of the user, and also provides an address so that it can display in the bar. The map controller plots the staple markers and also rebuilds a map whenever the map is mutated. So let's go through the actual code. If the current position is null, the getCurrentLocation method is called, and then it also returns a loading page. When that is not true, the widget is created by stacking widgets. First, there's a map initialized to the current location, then the address in the display of the bar, and then a button to get the center location, and a button to pop up a bottom sheet and to add a marker depending on the severity of pollution. Lessons learned. Sometimes you have to run before you walk, but you need to learn how to walk eventually. What I mean by that is that when I first started my internship, I had no prior knowledge of Flutter, and coding experience from class was limited. So I would watch hours of tutorials just to be able to do something in Flutter. But then I learned to slow down and fully understand everything, like the difference between asynchronous and asynchronous, just so I could fully understand it more and my knowledge could increase. So slowing down and understanding everything was very key. Further work I want to accomplish is to expand the backend by recording user data, such as how many markers are being placed in a city, how many markers are getting resolved. I also want to add and or modify the markers so that they can contain text or even images that show and describe the pollution. Finally, I would like to add more features to the map for a better user experience, such as a zoom in function. Thank you. Feel free to get in contact with me through my email and connect with me on my LinkedIn. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to my tech talk on the garbage location tracker. My name is Pranav Manchikanti, and my mentor who oversaw this entire project is Ryan Wang. So the problem that me and my team had to face was building a front end with Flutter that displays a map with various markers that indicate places with noticeable amounts of garbage. So basically this app was meant to address public health issues associated with garbage. As our society today you can find garbage practically anywhere. And so me and my team designed this app to provide a simple yet reliable solution. So my approach for the solution is a pretty simple one, but essentially whenever you open the app, you the user gets this screen. Essentially, it's a map that has a dialer on the top left and more options button on the bottom center, or the center bottom. So to simply place a garbage marker that indicates the garbage being located there, the user just simply has to tap on the screen, and then after they do, there's a garbage marker placed on the location they tapped. For more options, the user can just simply click on the speed dialer here at the center bottom of the screen, which gives three options. A relocate feature that basically whenever the user kind of like drags around the map and like kind of gets lost, they can simply click on this button and the app relocates like the map to the current user. There's also a confirm last marker button that basically each garbage marker that's placed it's unconfirmed, and which means that there's no surety that there is garbage there. So to simply confirm it, they just have to place this button. And to clear all markers, they just click on this one right here. And to close this dialer, they just click on this button right here. And whenever the user clicks on the top left drawer, they get this screen where basically it provides more information about the user and it gives them three more data organization options where it provides the distance from like the nearest garbage marker, like the distance to it for the like from the user's current location, and there are two options that basically organizes each all the markers from severity, like based on severity, from low to high and high to low. So the main architecture for this Flutter app is basically, so there are two main classes, main.dart and a homepage.dart. And the external APIs that I used was Google Maps, location, and speed dial. And so basically main.dart has no essential purpose other than just being the starting Dart file, like that contains the main method that runs the app. And it uses an instance of homepage.dart that basically has like the majority of the code and like the functionality. So the homepage.dart contains a scaffold widget. So basically Flutter, as obvious, it runs on widgets and stuff. So it uses a scaffold encompassing widget that has four main widgets. A drawer, that again, the top left thing in the app. An app bar that kind of describes the current screen. A body, which is the Google Maps that has pretty much the majority of like that basically is the majority of the screen, and a floating action button that is a speed dial, which gives three more options for the user. So the issues that I faced while developing my approach to the solution is like just to simply place a marker. I ran into multiple issues because there was inaccuracies sometimes whenever a user clicks on a certain location, like the marker would be placed a little off, and I did, and and also another issue that I faced was like so I was trying to figure out how to provide more action options to the user because I was thought about rendering a drawer onto the screen whenever they click on a certain marker to give more options, and I thought about just simply having a longer top left drawer, but then my third issue, the issue that I faced, was basically just trying to figure out how to relocate the map to the current user's locations, and which ties into my fourth issue was just handling current location updates. So whenever like the user changes location, or if the user clicks on the relocate button, like how to get the current location, make the map move over to that spot. And all of these issues were figured out by through consulting with my teammates and just lots and lots of Google searches. And yeah, like and for like approaching to placing a marker, I found this quick tutorial, like I found a good tutorial out of many, and to provide more action options, I've discovered this amazing speed dial widget that gave me a lot of flexibility and functionality, as you saw. And also to relocate to the like using a button to relocate, I just like just figured out how to make a proper method that deals with that issue, and also to handle current location updates. I started to use the location API that basically allows the app to figure out what the currently user's location is. at all times. So yeah, my team. So Ryan Wang is my mentor. That he oversaw this entire project. So and then my two other teammates, Abdulqadir, Ibrahim, and Denil, Sabu. These so all three of us had our different approaches to this app, but essentially they were all the same. They all had the same purpose, but they were all fundamentally different. But like placing them the essential way of using the app was also the kind of the same. But in the way in the terms of how it looks, each of our app was were different, and in the way we structured our app was also quite different as well. But I went with a simple, more reliable approach, and my other two teammates they were able to create some really uh, very functional and simple, like just more expandable apps. So the main lessons I learned throughout this entire project and overall experience is just like learning to collaborate with others while having independent ideas. Since we all had our independent approaches, so we can really work as a so-called team. Like we still were able to figure out how to collaborate and help each other out, which is kind of a it was kind of tough at times because we all had our different approaches and like ideas, and we can really provide the necessary aid to others since we had different ideas in the head. But we were still like showed our commitment to helping each other out. We provided as many ideas to each other as possible, and and this kind of helped us to like this comes to the second point, like which kind of led us to relying on others appropriately with proper communication. So we were able to discuss freely whatever issues we had and whatever like new ideas we had, and basically just show what we created like at each meeting and show how we can also each person can adopt those features of like another person app. And then the third main lesson I learned was discovering alternate solutions when necessary. So this comes into the dialer feature because I wasn't very like I personally found it very difficult to render like an entire separate drawer in the middle of an app and just trying to figure out how to provide more action buttons to the user. And then like well, I was very stuck at that point, and then went on Google and just searched up a bunch of different options and saw how to fix this issue, and then I just realized discovering alternates, and then I just found the speed dialer, and then this kind of helped me realize that there's always other solutions to use, and that there's no certain way to do something, and that each way is unique, and then it's often like it's not necessarily bad to use another approach. And the fourth main lesson we learned is like how to input various ideas and sculpting an encompassing end product. Because at the beginning of the project, we all had very different ideas and just overall thoughts and how we could build this project. But in the end, we learned how to cooperate with each other and just productively build an end product that's reliable and very functional. So the further work that or just goals that I have with this project is implementing and using Firebase, so which helps with the user authorization because I think that would be a great feature to have for this app, and like I think it's a very necessary one too. And then providing more marker choices to the user that accurately meets their desire, so that sort of represents severity levels, types of pollution, etc. And the third main feature that I want to add is just also just an approach that I want to like invest my time into is trying other design options that can make the entire process more comfortable. So like beyond the speed dialer, beyond the drawer, like just again discovering more different options that I can look into and implement, and to pick out which process, like pick out which certain product or approach feels most comfortable to the user and that seems more whole, as like incomplete. So my contact info, so my Instagram ID is at Pranav54, and I mostly that's like my main social media platform, and also my email is tejareddy033 at gmail.com. Thank you very much.